When we were first exposed to multiplication and division, we saw that they had an inverse relationship, or another way of thinking about it is that they can undo each other. So, for example, if I had 2 times 4, one interpretation of this is I could have 4 groups of 2, so that is 1 group of 2, 2 groups of 2, 3 groups of 2, and 4 groups of 2, and we learned many videos ago that this, of course, is going to be equal to 8. But we could express a very similar idea with division. We could start with 8 things. So let's start with 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 things. So now we're going to start with the 8. And we could say, well, let's try to divide that into 4 groups, 4 equal groups. Well, that's 1 equal group, 2 equal groups, 3 equal groups, and 4 equal groups. And we see when we start with 8, divide into 4 equal groups, each group is going to have 2 objects in it. So you probably see the relationship. 2 times 4 is 8. 8 divided by 4 is 2. And actually, if we did 8 divided by 2, we would get 4. And this is generally true. If I have something times something else is equal to whatever their product is, if you take the product and divide by one of those two numbers, you'll get the other one. And that idea applies to fractions, and it actually makes a lot of sense with fractions. So for example, let's say that we started off with 1/3, and we wanted to multiply that times 3. Multiply by 3. Well, there's a couple of ways we could visualize it. Actually, let me just draw a diagram here. So let's say that this block represents a whole, and let me shade in a third of it. So that's 1/3. But we're going to multiply by 3. So we're going to have 3 of these 1/3. Or another way of thinking about it is going to be 1/3 times, or 1/3 plus another 1/3 plus another 1/3. That's our first third, our second third, and our third third. And we get the whole. This is 3/3 or 1. So this is going to be equal to 1. So you use the exact same idea. If 1/3 times 3 is equal to 1, then that means that 1 divided by 3, must be equal to 1/3. And this comes straight out of how we first even thought about fractions. The first way that we ever thought about fractions was, well, let's start with a whole, and that whole would be our 1. And let's divide it into 3 equal sections, the same way that we divided this 8 into 4 equal groups. So if you divide this into 3 equal sections, the size of each of those sections is going to be exactly 1/3. Now this leads to an interesting question that might be popping in your brain. Notice we have 1 as a numerator, 3 as a denominator, and we just said that this is equal to the numerator divided by the denominator. 1/3 is the same thing as 1 divided by 3. Is this always true for a fraction? Well, let's just do the same thought experiment, but let's do it with a different fraction. Let's take 3/4 and multiply it by 4. So multiply it by 4. So once again, let's see if I could draw a fourth here. Let me do this in a new color. So let's say that this block right over here is a whole. I'm going to divide it into 4 equal sections. So now I've divided it into fourths, and let me copy and paste it so I can use it multiple times. So copy. All right. Now 3/4, that's going to be, well, we can assume I didn't draw it perfect. Actually, I could draw it a little bit better than that just to make the 4 equal sections actually look equal. So that looks like a little bit better of a job. I'm trying to make them 4 equal sections. And let me copy that one. So let me use it for later. Now 3/4. This is 4 equal sections, and 3/4 represents 3 of them. 1, 2, 3. But now we're going to multiply it by 4. So we're going to have 3/4 4 times. So we're going to need some more wholes here. So let's throw in another whole. So this is 1/3. Now let me do the next 3/4 in another color. So this is another, that's a fourth, that's a second fourth, that's a third fourth, that's another 3/4. And now let's do, so we've done 2 3/4 just now. Let me make it clear. This is the first 3/4, and then this plus this is the second 3/4. Now let's do a third 3/4, and we're going to have to use another hole right over here, and I will do that in this color. So my third 3/4. So here's a fourth. Here's my second fourth. Here's a third fourth. So in green I have another 3/4, and now we need 4 3/4. So let's do that in a color I have not used yet, maybe white. So that's a fourth, that's 2/4, and that is 3/4. So notice now I have 1 3/4, 2 3/4, 3 3/4, and 4 3/4. And what did I do when I got those 4 3/4? Well, it's pretty clear. This is turned into 3 holes. So this is equal to 3 holes. Well, if 3/4 times 4 is equal to 3, that means that 3 divided by 4 is equal to 3/4. So the same idea again. 3 over 4 is the same thing as 3 divided by 4. And in general, this is true. The fraction symbol here can be interpreted as division. And looking at this diagram right here, it made complete sense. If you started with 3 holes and you want to divide it into 4 equal groups, 1 group, 2 groups, 3 groups, 4 groups, each group is going to have 3/4 in it.
Hey guys, how's it going? Just want to add some clarity to that Khan Academy video. I know it could probably be a little overwhelming the first time watching around, but I assure you this is all very, very, very easy. Okay? What you really need to understand is when we're talking about a fraction, we're just describing the division of a whole number into equal parts. So go ahead and stand up for me. Stand up. All right? All right. Stand up. Go ahead. All right. Raise your right hand and repeat after me. We need to do this quickly so we have enough time. All right? A fraction describes the division of a whole number into equal parts. Again, a fraction describes the division of a whole number into equal parts. All right, sit down, sit down, sit down. All right, I want you to go ahead and draw this behind me in your notes. Just go ahead and draw a circle like this, because this represents a whole. This is my whole. Now, a fraction is just represented of a whole that is divided into equal parts. So after you draw this, go ahead and draw this. Just draw one big circle and write a 1 on it. Shouldn't take much time. Draw a big circle, 1, you're done. Okay? Now, pull this off to the side. Okay? Now I have a circle that represents the same amount as that whole that I had, except now it's divided into 6 equal parts. Now, how much does 1 part equal? Well, 1 part equals 1/6. Okay? So I've got 1/6. Well, how many of those 1/6 do I have? Well, I have 6 of them. 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, 1/6, and 1/6. Well, if I add all those up, I get a total of 6 over 6, which equals 1 whole. So you just need to understand at this point that division and fractions have a relationship in the fact that a fraction just represents the division of equal parts of a whole. Okay, so don't overthink it. So we have, if we added all these up, we get the 6/6, but what's another way to think about repeated addition? What else is repeated addition? Well, multiplication is repeated addition. And what's the inverse operation of multiplication? Well, that's division. Okay? So a fraction just describes the division of a whole into equal parts. That's all it represents. That's it. Okay, so as far as this lesson goes, all you're being asked to do really is identify when I have a fraction, what does that look like as a division problem? And if I had a division problem, what does that look like as a fraction? So let's take a look at a few, okay? I'll guide you through a few here. It's not a big deal. All right, let's just move all this out of the way. Bam, it's gone for the most part. All right, so let's look at 6 divided by 9. All right, 6 divided by 9. All right, I've got 6 divided into 9 equal parts. So if I write that as a fraction, I just get 6/9. That's how easy it is. It's simple. Okay, so 3 divided by 8. Okay, what's that equal to? Well, I'm taking 3 and I'm dividing it into 8 equal parts. So I got 3/8. Okay, so you can almost think of this line as like a division line. Okay, just put a couple dots there, and there you go. Your fraction's a division problem. Same thing. 3/8, 3/8. Really simple. Let's look at one more like this. So going from a division problem to a fraction. So 13 divided by 17. Now, looking at our other examples, I want you to go ahead and write down in your notes what you think the fraction representation of this division problem is. Go ahead and write it down. I'll wait. Yes, you too. Go ahead. Go. Just kidding. Write it down, though. Seriously. All right. What'd you get? I can't hear you. What'd you get? I should be able to hear you from where I'm at. What did you get? All right. That's loud enough. Loud enough. Calm down now. Calm down. You should have got 13/17. Raise your hand if you got that right. All right. If you got that right, give yourself a whoop, whoop. Give you one more. Whoop, whoop. Hope you're having a good time. All right. Now, let's look at this. We're going to go the opposite way now. So just now we were looking at going from a division to a fraction. Well, now I want to do it the other way around. I want to look at a fraction and then turn it into a division problem. It's the exact same process. So if I have 1 over 2, if I have 1/2, right, that's the same thing as saying 1 divided by 2. 1 divided by 2. Okay? I hope you're writing all this down because you're going to need it in your notes later. All right? And I'm going to be checking those when I get back. Now, if I look at the fraction 5/7, okay, that's the same thing as 5 divided by 7. That's it. Easy peasy. So you try one. I got 5/11. Now I want you to write that as a fraction. Now, whatever you're dividing by, 1, it goes on the outside. And 2, whatever you're dividing by is a divisor. Everybody say, whatever you're dividing by is a divisor. Say it. Say, whatever you're dividing by is a divisor. All right, so that's the divisor. So go ahead and write this one as a fraction. Write it in your notes. All right, should have that down. It shouldn't take any time at all, but it should be 5 divided by 11. That's it. That's all you're going to do. Easy peasy. So now, we've looked at 2 different types of examples. We went from division to a fraction and fraction to division. It's the same thing. All right, so you should be able to recognize that at this point. So now we're going to look at it in the form of possibly if it was a word problem. All right, so if we say, oh, who's a good name to use in here? Let's say Wyatt. Hi. Let's say that Wyatt picked up 5 of the 6 apples. Say he went to the store, he's supposed to get 6 apples. Wyatt picked up 5 of 6 apples. Okay? So how do I represent that as a fraction? Well, I represent that as 5/6. So how do I represent 5/6? That is a division problem. 5 divided by 6. 5 divided by 6. 5 divided by 6. All right, guys. It's that easy. I have faith in you. Hope you have a great Monday, and I'll see you when I get back. Good luck on your practice. You guys have a great day. Thanks.